Welcome to episode 10 of We Don't Give a F podcast. I'm Stephanie Tejada.
And I'm Jaclyn Passaro.
Let's get into our first segment called Fan or Troll, where we decide if the messages we get are from fans or trolls. Oh God, this is definitely a fan, but it also is a little trolly. I want to suck your tongue.
Could you imagine having the audacity to send that to someone's DM?
What the fuck do they think is going to happen? Like, do they think we're going to be like, okay, meet me here at 7 o'clock. Let's sneak out. Like, I don't understand men.
It wasn't from a guy. It was from a girl. Ah! These bisexual and lesbians, they are aggressive.
I'm telling you.
They're aggressive.
I have had lesbian friends, and they tell me that, like, it's something about the lesbian culture that they're very aggressive and like they'll move in together really fast and things like that. And like that's not like a stereotype. That happens a lot.
Yeah.
One time when I worked at the gay club, when I go dance at Pulse, the gay club, a lesbian girl was like, "Oh my God, you're so pretty." Da, 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 da. And I was like, "Oh, thank you. I'm straight." And she said, "So is spaghetti until it's wet." What? Yeah, you ain't sucking our tongue. You ain't doing none of that, girl. Sorry.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to our next segment. Extra, extra. Let's talk about it. Cinnamon Toast Crunch Sausage.
You know, okay, so looking at this, I'm like, why? Who the fuck would do that? But have you ever had breakfast sausage with pancakes and accidentally touched that syrup?
You know,
pretty good.
I don't like any type of breakfast sausage or sausage in general. Have I eaten it? Yeah, but I just would have to pass on this.
I feel like it could work because when I've had like pancakes and I have like the little sausage links or whatever and it touches that syrup, it actually goes well. I'm concerned about that cinnamon flavor, but I do feel like the sweet with the sausage might work. I don't know. Our next segment is called Petty Please, where we find the pettiest news, social media posts, gossip, bochincha, if you want to send us stuff, whatever, and we discuss it. So apparently, Denise Richards is claiming that Erika Jayne was lip syncing during her performance. And Erika reacted in an interview by saying, "Here's the thing, you can hear the good notes and the bad notes. So there you go." She said the mic was on.
I liked how she handled it. She kind of just made a joke about it.
She owned it, essentially. She knew it wasn't great.
Owned it. Yeah, she totally owned it. And I think that that's a way to... Like, when you know that you didn't do that great, it's best to just kind of own it and make fun of it. And acknowledge it. Mm-hmm. Then deny it.
I agree. It's like when we get like, okay, like these Instagram trolls be like, "Where's the punchline? That's not funny." Like, you can hear the laughs, though. Like, shut up. They're there. It works, bitch. So today's topic that we were suggested to discuss is things that we watched that would be canceled today. The first one is Shallow Hal. Girl, if y'all never seen Shallow Hal, it is about a man who sees women as way more beautiful and, I guess, in shape than they are. He's shallow, okay? And then what happens is he loses this, like, what is it? I don't know if it's like a power or like
so
what it
like
is.
This one guy puts a spell on him that he sees people for who they are on the inside and not the outside. So he starts seeing women that he would normally find unattractive as hot.
Remember the one by the pool? My God.
My favorite was when he's dancing, right? And everyone's like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Look at these gorgeous babes."
Oh my God, yes. So, and then you know what's the funny thing about Shallow Hal? He was ugly and out of shape his damn self over here being all shallow like he Mr. Olympia.
But I think that it's true. Men who are like him look like that are usually the biggest jerks and they're most shallow and the rudest. I really do feel like there's a stereotype that good-looking people are shallow, but I think that I've met way more unattractive men who are like nasty about women's looks and have these ridiculous commentary and like just like, you know, opinions.
I don't get it.
So I think that it wouldn't fly today because the whole point of the movie is that you're beautiful when you're skinny.
Oh, yeah. And we know how they feel about skinny people today. It's like, you could be 100 pounds, you could be 500 pounds, you could, my 1,000-pound sister, baby.
Hello, baby.
We don't fit through the door. We're so big, but who cares? We have a TV show.
So the next one, She's All That. And I think it wouldn't fly today because it was all about a man making a woman popular.
And with like the stupidest ways, like, oh, you're ugly because you have a ponytail and glasses. Like, that is so fucked up. That is so. People would look at that and be like, what's wrong with ponytails and glasses? Like, it was just a thing back then. Like, you were a nerd or you weren't hot because you had your hair up, which was stupid. I definitely agree with, like, thinking that is dumb because that girl was pretty either way.
Yeah, she was totally
She definitely
pretty.
dressed a little frumpier.
Yeah.
But she still looked exactly the same.
Yeah.
I don't get it. The next one is a movie called Heavyweights. Have you never seen Heavyweights? It's about a bunch of kids who are forced to go to like a fat camp. And like they go on like all these like ridiculous excursions and they have to do these diets and these crazy exercises and activities. And today, people would probably encourage the kid to choose how he wants to live his life, even if he will become diabetic at a young age. Like, it's okay, let them be fat. It's fine. Like, they would be so offended. They would probably call like Children's Protection Services on these parents who like sent them to fat camp. Meanwhile, it's like their life literally depends on this.
But in the movie, they're so mean to them and they bully them. And then what's his face? I always forget his name. Ben Stiller. He's like this obnoxious, like aerobic. He's the same type of characters he always plays. Those obnoxious, in your face wackos. And he's like telling them that they're fat and making them starve and like.
Oh my goodness.
The next one is White Chicks. I mean, I love this movie.
I love it too.
It's so funny. I think though maybe people would have issues with like men pretending to be women. Maybe.
Or specifically two black men pretending to be two white women is like, it's because of the makeup. Like they're doing whiteface and they're pretending to be these women. And the funniest thing to me about it is like, in the movie, they really think like, oh, it's them.
It's so funny.
It's so insulting
and
to like the real women.
It's so hilarious though. I mean, that movie is so funny. I'll never like that one song by Vanessa Carlton, "Make Him."
Oh yeah, with Terry Crews. He's so funny.
You're gonna have a bitch fit. A BF.
The next one, kind of similar to White Chicks, but it's opposite. It's called Soul Man. And it's this white college kid pretends to be black. He like literally tans himself and gets a jerry curl and everything because he wants a minority scholarship. Like, that's an old movie too. The fact that even flew as old as it is, it's obnoxiously racist.
Yes. It's,
they fucking tried it.
Like, how ridiculous. And it was in the late 80s. You would think they had some sense then.
Girl.
Oh my God.
They were pushing the envelope before we was here.
Bridget Jones's Diary. So that would never fly now because like the whole movie, she's talking about how fat she is. Now she needs to lose weight. And she's like 130 pounds.
Oh,
so
God.
she's like, the whole movie is like about how she's fat and this and that. And yeah, nobody would be interested in that now.
I don't think I've seen that movie. I've seen clips of it, but I've never watched it.
I've only seen clips and I read the book.
Sorry. Yeah. The next movie is actually one of my favorite Christmas movies. It's the Home Alone movies. Now, obviously, Kevin's mom need to go to jail for child abuse, okay? She done left her son, who, he's not even like, how they say like, oh, legally, if you're like 13, you can stay home alone for a little bit or whatever. He wasn't even that old. In the movie. He was like 10.
No.
And she not left him once, but twice, and went across the fucking country on a vacation with 800 other people, but somehow forgot poor little Kevin McAllister. And that to me is crazy. So you did a head count of 800 people in your house, but you forgot your son? She didn't get her ass whooped.
She didn't care. She was probably drunk.
She was drunk, entitled rich mom.
So the next one is the Rugrats. I loved Rugrats.
I loved the Rugrats
but
too.
I feel like now everyone would be like giving them like they'd be like, Angelica is a narcissist. She's evil. And like they would just be like, oh my God, she's abusing Chucky and he needs therapy.
She
and
was a
he's
bully.
afraid of everything. She was a total bully.
She's definitely
and like
bully.
they would
and
just
she
be
bullying babies at that. Like who bullies babies? Angelica was a villain.
So they would just complain it has too much bullying in it. And then there's the two bald twins.
Phil and Lil, I love them.
I loved Phil and Lil. But I kind of liked Angelica too, I'm not going to lie.
Angelica was my favorite, and then Phil and Lil.
I did kind of like Angelica, and you needed her character to shake things up. And then, you know, I just feel like they would just nitpick everything about Rugrats. I loved Rugrats.
And I feel like, you know, if you look at what the Rugrats is really about, it's a bunch of rich Jewish parents who just let their kids do whatever the fuck they want. These kids were just going out. There was escaping playpens, screwdrivers in the grocery, all kinds of shit. They went to go see Reptar on Ice and somehow fled the skating ring. And like the parents never know anything. They're drunk. And they're not paying attention. Something is up. And also, I feel like it wasn't a religiously inclusive show. Like they really pushed like Jewish traditions. Remember they had the Hanukkah traditions a bunch of times in the Rugrats. And the grandpa.
I don't remember that.
They was Jewish parents who was neglecting their children. Just like the girl from Home Alone. The next one is Tropic Thunder. Have you ever seen this movie?
I have.
I think this movie is hilarious, but Robert Downey Jr. plays an Australian man who is pretending to be a black man in a film about World War. And the way that he does it, though, the voices, the mannerisms, the things that he says is so funny. And you see, what's his name? Brandon T. Jackson's character, like, get so fed up with him. Like, you're even black. But he did such a good job that people liked it. It was a very liked movie.
I don't even remember. I mean, it's so old by now, but I'm shocked they did that then, too.
Yeah.
So the next one is Clueless.
Oh, God.
And I love Clueless, but I think they would have beef with the fact that they are always talking about dieting and like drinking Diet Coke for lunch.
I remember they would have a Diet Coke and like a celery stick. She was like, oh my God, did you know that celery has this many calories? So if you chew it slower and like whatever, like, and you're eating celery. And she's still like obsessive about it. And it was very like, what's the word? I don't know, but they were like very materialistic too. Like it was pushing diet culture, but it was also pushing this like need to be designer and rich and have daddy do this, and you know what I mean? And that's just not realistic, especially for high school students. Get the fuck out of here, Cher. This next movie, I don't know if you've seen it, it's called The Ringer. Johnny Knoxville's in it, and he pretends to be disabled to play in the Special Olympics. One of my favorite scenes, because he's like, it's so ridiculous because like even though it's a comedy film, he's really just making fun of mentally challenged people like the whole time. The entire movie, he is just dragging the mentally disabled. And my favorite part is there's a scene where he like sneaks out with them, and he tries to tell the lady, like, where were you? Where'd you take these kids? Like, went to go get ice cream. And the other guy, the slow kid who's really slow, is like, when the fuck did we get ice cream? And, like, blows his cover. But it's a wild movie. Like, that's a crazy concept for a film. Pretend to be disabled to play in the Special Olympics for money.
That is something they would do in It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Or, like, South Park, you know? Like, that was, like...
Yeah. So the next one is Pretty Woman. So I think they would have beef with it. Like the feminists would have beef with it today because she's just being a hoe, making her money, and then all of a sudden a man saves her. So I think the feminists wouldn't like just let her be a hoe. You're kind of like hoe shaming.
Yeah, they're slut shaming.
And she's making her money, and then a man has to come in and save her.
Sex work is work. Like, allow her to express her freedom. If she want to be a hoe and make her coin, that's her decision. Her body, her choice, baby.
I'm pro-hoe.
I'm pro-choice. How about that?
Yeah, if you choose to be a hoe, go ahead. I don't have a problem with it.
That's your coochie, not mine, girl. You do what you want with that. The final film that would definitely be canceled is called, and you know what? This movie was ahead of its time. It's called Joanna Man. And it starred that guy, Miguel A. Nunez Jr. We've, like, I can't name anything but this movie that he's been in, but he's been in so much shit. He's just got one of those faces that you know you've seen. But basically, he's a star basketball player who decides to dress up as a woman to join the Professional Basketball League for Women because his on-court antics got him suspended. So he was like, okay, well, I still got to play and make money or stuff, so I'm going to join the women's league. So he puts on a wig, dresses up like a woman, and destroys the female basketball players and makes a lot of, you know, good plays. Or like he's fucking killing it. He's killing it. And I feel like this is a reverse cancellation. Like today would be a documentary.
Yeah.
Like they'd be like, oh, but that's his choice if he wants to put on a wig. And it just reminded me of that situation with that guy who, the NCAA or whatever. The
swimmer guy.
What was his name? Leah Thomas.
Her name.
Her name was Leah Thomas.
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
So moving on to our next segment, Therapish, where we kind of give you advice.
You're welcome.
So somebody was like, I want to move to LA. Any advice on moving there?
Don't. It's oversaturated. It's too expensive. It's overrated. Everybody fake as hell out here. If you're trying to get in the entertainment industry, good luck. You better off investing in yourself, in your own production. And yeah, I like LA. I feel like as a comedian, there's a lot of comedy clubs and opportunities out here. But after living here for so long, I realized like the gimmick of LA.
It's definitely gimmicky, but I do like the weather. I hate cold weather.
I hate cold weather.
I hate cold weather. And I think it's beautiful. Like, there's definitely some beautiful scenery and stuff. And there is some like cool people to vibe with. Is there a lot of fake people? There sure is. But I would say, like, if you want to move here, kind of like do your research as to what part. Because Hollywood, for example, is a shithole. Like, It's very overpriced. There's homeless people everywhere. You're probably going to get shot the first night you, like...
Honestly, like when I first moved out to California from Florida, I thought, oh, I'm going to live in Hollywood. I'm going to live in LA. I'm going to live right in the hub. Girl, bye. Let me tell you, when it was traffic at the gas station, I was instantly over LA shit. There was a line to get gas.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like it wasn't like the weekend or it was nothing. Like it was like a Wednesday afternoon. Like it shouldn't be like that, but it's like that a lot. It's so crowded, and I live on the outskirts because I would just rather have more of like a space, and I feel like you get your money's worth.
I live in the Valley, and people in LA hate the Valley, but I'm pro Valley.
I'm pro Valley too. I've been in your neighborhood. Ain't nobody outside. Ain't no crackheads.
No.
Ain't no.
There's no crackheads.
Ain't no crackheads.
No, there's no nothing. I think they're afraid, like okay, because I feel like most homeless people are like white crackheads. Like I very rarely see like a homeless person who's not white. You know, most homeless people are white. And I think because my neighborhood is a lot of Latino and Armenians, I think they're afraid of them. Like they ain't gonna, like you ain't gonna do that on their lawn.
We're not down for that.
Like, well, this has been episode 10 of We Don't Give a F podcast. I'm Jaclyn Passaro.
And I'm Stephanie Tejada. Subscribe, hit the notification, subscribe to our... And follow us on social medias. Come see us live. Get you some merch, okay? Send us suggestions. We ask you guys for input, for ideas. If you have questions, whatever it is, message us. We love to hear from you. Bye.